Well, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome back to the internet and welcome to my channel. It's me, Odio. I'm going to do a review today of X-Men 97, Episode 9, Tolerance is Extinction, Part 2. It is an awesome episode. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we go. It's the penultimate episode of X-Men 97, and this one is a banger. We start off, Xavier is back, and we know Storm's coming back too, and he's at the mansion. The mansion is totally wrecked from everything that's been happening. And it doesn't start off right where the other one is. I'll get into that in a minute. But you see his return going around the mansion. The X-Men are all there. And he pretty much has to explain his actions. He has to go over why he thought it would be just such an amazing idea to give over in his last will and testament the entire place, the mansion, to Magneto. And he lets them know Cyclops and Jean are the most affected. And he says, I wanted you to have your own life, and I knew you'd never leave. I knew you'd always end up back here, but hey, I ended up back here too, so I guess nothing I really did try it worked out. Cyclops doesn't really seem to like his answers, but, there's nothing that Xavier can do about it at this point. We get some flashbacks, and we see Storm and Forge are back. And there's a weird scene, like Jubilee and Sunspot are running, and like the Friends of Humanity are chasing them through an alley, but they don't have collars on. They got collared and taken away last episode by the Sentinels, but they're not being held by them now, so there must have been a time jump. Anyway, Storm and Forge come down and save them, and yes, so glad Storm is back. She's one of my favorite X-Men. She's like a tsunami of excellence. I just love her character. I can't wait to see her use her powers. But yeah, that's the only real issue I had with the episode, was just this one thing. Where they were collared and everything. Like, they were captured, so they don't really give any explanation on how they get out. They reference it later on, too. Sunspot even says how his mom had sold them out to the Sentinels, but unless I missed it, I didn't see the reference to how they got out. But other than that, this episode's like pretty much perfection. So you get to see some great action there, and they all get saved, and they go back to the mansion, and Rogue finally wakes up. Nightcrawler's there. It's kind of a little happy reunion of everybody going around. And Xavier calls everyone together and explains why he gave it all to Magneto. As I said earlier, Cyclops doesn't accept this. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter though. All the X-Men realize there's a giant calamity. What Magneto has done is going to destroy all of the Earth. It's epic. It may even be an unstoppable thing that they can't do anything about, but they know they have to at least try to get Magneto to undo it. The humans are also threatening to try to attack Magneto in some way. And it sounds like the magnetism is being drained out of the Earth, which I guess they say will destroy it all, which, awesome. I don't know how that all works, but sounds cool as heck. And we've seen him use his power last episode was great, too. So they decide to split up into two teams to try to go after, one team's going to go after Bastion, and the other team's going to go after Magneto. And while that's happening, Beast and Forge are kind of working together. They're trying to create a device that will be able to stop Bastion. They don't know what kind of mutant really he is, but they know he can control the machines and power them and everything, because his stuff is still going, even though the whole planet has been, pretty much demagnetized and nothing works. But the Sentinels seem to still work, so they believe it's him powering it. And also Forge's leg is working, but he has a device that will protect it from that. We get a neat moment, too, because Beast and Forge are creating a device that will stop Bastion's powers. And they're like, and if we incorporate the Scrambler, it'll permanently remove his powers. And Storm is in the room and she gets mad. They're like, okay, maybe not. Because she just got her powers back. She rejoined the team. I don't think she wants to be part of, taking other people's powers away. She knows how that feels. Although he's evil, so I don't think he's ever going to be redeemed. He's like a machine, basically. So then even Wolverine makes a comment that, it's a war and it's only going to end one way. Like, Magneto's going to have to go down, right? So he's pragmatic. He's been around a long time, been in a lot of wars, right? So they don't agree with him. They're like, no, we got to talk to him. We have to get him to reverse this to save the whole planet. And so they separate into their teams and they're making their plans. And out of nowhere, a giant asteroid like a mountain shows up, and Magneto is flying. He comes in like a god, just flying out of the sky with a giant mountain behind him. And he starts explaining to them, like, we tried it your way, Xavier. You should have seen what they did to Genosha. We had a paradise. It was all working great, and they couldn't stand it. They attacked us. Now we're going to try it my way. And whoever wants to join me and do it my way, the invitation's open. So then you see Rogue goes up and joins, which, I don't like Rogue joining Magneto, but at the same time, they were kind of hooking up earlier, and Gambit's dead. Like, she's upset, and she blames the humans. It's not great. It's a catastrophe for her to lose him. She's upset about Remy being gone the whole time. There's a lot of references to it. And even though she was hooking up with Magneto, I think she did actually love Gambit, it really deep down. But it just makes them ask the question, was Magneto right? And if they feel like he was, they go join. So anyway, Rogue and Sunspot are the only ones to take it at that time. But Magneto says it's an open offer anytime. And then you see they're gearing up to go find Bastion, and they're still going to try to stop Magneto. You even get a nice little scene where Cable suits up with an X-Men suit. He's like, am I going to be in the circus? And Cyclops says, no, what are you expecting, Pretty cool, though. They're going off on separate teams, though, so they won't be together. But they all get their costumes. Jean Grey even puts on the old costume. Pretty funny to see that one. I liked it. So then Xavier is talking to the president. He tells him not to attack Magneto. Him and the X-Men are going to go try to take care of it. So as they're flying out to Bastion's island, it's really cool. You see Bastion, he looks pretty evil. He's attached to all these tentacles and things. They're all coming off him. Looks like he's connected to all these sentinels. They're hooked right into his body and things through the back. It looks almost like, I don't know, Megatron did in one of the old Transformers ones. But he just looks evil. Actually, a little bit like Michael Ironside at the end of Metal Storm, actually. That's a pretty good description of what he looked like here. But anyway, it looks like he's an evil man. And he's got all these sentinels attached, and he sends them out to attack. So yeah, he wasn't affected by the pulse like all the other power things. He's powering them himself. So they realize they're not going to be able to stop them all. So Storm says, don't worry about it. Me and Forge will take care of them, Jean Grey and you guys, you go on down and try to stop Bastion. And we get an awesome scene of Storm just going out and fighting with all these sentinels. She casts a gigantic tornado. There's lightning flying. She's just a hurricane of awesomeness. It's great. She's really just showcasing her power. I'm so glad she's back, destroying a whole bunch of sentinels. Then we cut to the island attack team, and it's great. On the island is super cool. You see them fighting sentinels on the ground, Beast cutting them up, everyone working together to defeat them. And we get a really, really neat scene where Mr. Sinister comes out and he's facing off against Jean Grey. One of the best fight scenes in the show so far. They're just going at it. He knows her powers. She's not afraid to try to finish him off. They have a great fight. She's saying Madeline's with her, and he's saying, I cloned you. I know everything about you. I can tell you when I switched you. It's really good. It's a gripping fight. There's lots of emotion in it. It's really awesome to see on the screen. We also get a really cool scene where Morph pretends to be Sinister, tries to get in and trick Bastion. Bastion immediately knows and attacks him. He turns into Beast and a bunch of other people. He's trying to get him there. Really cool. We get some good Morph scenes. I like Morph a lot, so we didn't get a lot of him in the old ones. So really good job here incorporating him in everything. And then, of course, the big fight up in space now is where Magneto is taking this asteroid. There's a war going on up there. Rogue, Sunspot, Magneto, they're fighting off against all the X-Men. Cyclops is there, Wolverine, Xavier. It's crazy. The war going on up there is just, it's super interesting. It's shocking. Some of the fighting just is nuts. They're using their powers on each other. Jubilee and Sunspot are fighting each other, and they obviously don't want to do that. Rogue has to kind of turn on Cyclops. It's so great. It's such a crazy fight to see happen on the screen. There's a generous amount of action and fight scenes. And it's just not to be missed. Honestly, if you like X-Men, this is just great. I was excited on the edge of my seat watching these fights. There's some people who were almost getting really badly hurt. Oh, it was really, really good. And we cut back to Earth, and all of a sudden Forge gets hit, and the jet starts going down. Storm tries to save it, then she gets smashed in the back. Then they both go down, and it just cuts away. I'm like, no, Storm, we just got you back. But it cuts away, so we don't know what happens. And then back up there, Xavier says to Cyclops, we got to get that helmet off. I'm just going to take control of Magneto and do what I know I shouldn't do. And then when that's happening, back on the island, Sinister does one of the worst things ever. It's so cool. He takes control of Nathan Summers, technically Madeline's son, but also Jean Grey has those memories, and he comes down and starts attacking Jean. And he also has her psychic powers. He has a little red crystal in his head. He's also being controlled by Sinister, and he's trying to kill her, shooting a gun, trying to destroy her. She's holding up a shield, and she reaches out to Cyclops and lets him know what's happening. And Cyclops sees what's happening, and he's like, oh no, Jean, but he can't save her, and he can't shoot Nathan. If he was even going to shoot Nathan, he didn't have the opportunity. I don't know what. He thinks they need more time. Then you cut back up there, and Xavier and trying to get the helmet off Magneto. And finally, there's a big epic confrontation, and Wolverine gets the helmet off Magneto. And Xavier finally, he does. He's like, I'm so sorry. And he takes control of Magneto's mind. And he's going to fix the Earth. It's really, really cool. It's like, wow, they got him. They're going to win. They're going to save everybody. And bang! Cyclops just shoots Xavier. What? He's like, they need more time on the planet. I was like, no. Then Magneto gets up and he's just clamping metal over everyone's face and trapping everyone. And Wolverine's like smashed in the corner, and all of a sudden it's looking really dire up there. And Magneto even says like, yeah, that wasn't good for you guys. This isn't going to go your way now. And shocking, out of nowhere, Wolverine just shoves claws right through the back of Magneto, and they just come out the front covered in blood. I was like, what? Magneto's like like looking at the blood like, no. And Wolverine's like, the bravest people always die first. And because he was in the corner knocked down, and he got him. And then childhood me was waiting for this moment. Maybe not in a good way, maybe not in a bad way, but I always thought this was going to happen. So he smashes Magneto's not dead. He pushes Wolverine away with his magnetism. And the question gets answered that I've always had since I was a kid. Couldn't Magneto just pull his metal adamantium? Like, couldn't he just pull that skeleton out? It's made of metal. Magneto controls metal. I never thought Wolverine would even try this. Magneto, when he knocks him down, he does it. He actually does it. He goes for the adamantium frame, and that's how the episode ends, with him like pulling it out. I was like, it was so gruesome looking. I was like, this is, and then the episode just stops. Like, holy cow. Talk about like making the most interesting, fun, exciting episode, so you cannot wait for next week's episode. This has been a show I've been looking forward to each week, but next week I'm going to be staying up late to watch it at like whatever time in the morning it gets released, because I cannot wait. X-Men 97 has been a triumph. The penultimate episode it rocks it. It's so good. There's so many great moments, so many great fight scenes, such an amazing story. The maker of this, I think his name was Beau DeMayo or something. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he doesn't work there anymore, but holy cow, he has made one of the best seasons of anything I've watched. In 2024, this is the best season of TV I'm watching. I'm really, really enjoying it. I recommend it to anyone. If you're ever a fan of X-Men or the X-Men animated show, this is it. This is as good as you're going to get this year for sure. It's a comeback of epic proportions. Can't wait for next week. At the finale, I'm sure we're going to get Onslaught, in my opinion, but we'll see what's going to happen. Honestly, thank you so much for, if you listen this far, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate your time. And remember, everyone, stay out of trouble and don't skip the theme song.